Hi, welcome back. This is another quick video to show you how you can use storage accounts and file shares in Azure with Fabrics. The first thing we're going to do is going to go into Azure itself, into our test account. And you can see here that we have these 4 different storage accounts, 2 of which are storage v2 and 2 of which are file storage. In Azure, in a storage v2 account, you can create a file share. That's perfectly reasonable. There's one there, data, and you can have a file storage type storage account. And in those, the only thing you can create is file shares, and they're more a premium type of file share in Azure. Here it shows this profile app one. Now, in Fabrics, we have 2 different base ways to create storage accounts. So if I go to Companies, and I pick my test company, and then I go to the Assets tab, and I click the Add button. You can see that if I say, well, let's first filter to storage accounts. There you can see those 4 storage accounts. So then if I click my Add button and I say, okay, this is a new storage account in Microsoft Azure, and I select storage account, you can see there's this optional type that will come up here. And storage and file share does not necessarily map to storage v2 and file storage. All this means in Fabrics is that you may create file shares in this storage account at some point in time. You don't have to right away. Whereas storage will never allow you to create file shares in that account. So it would be solely used as blob storage. Now, if you want to create a file share type of storage, you pick file share, and we'll call this new file share. And we're going to put it in that resource group and click save. When I come into, like, similar to some of these other ones that are here, the properties are created differently based on which one, because backup is not needed in a containerized only account. So in my storage accounts that are going to use file shares, I will have 2 properties, backup vault and backup policy, which if I'm using a regular account, like this is a storage v2 account, that I did not choose as a file share, and you can see it does not have a backup policy. And those are just to make the policy available to all of the file shares that you might create there. But it also limits you from creating those in Fabrics. So again, in my new file share, if I come in here, I have the ability to select, okay, I want to use this backup vault for all file shares in there, and I want to use this backup policy for all file shares in there. Now you can also see that within this file share, there I can pick both file storage, which is the premium type of file share storage, or I can pick storage v2, which is the non-premium type, and then I can pick any of the layers of LRS, GRS standard. Like I can create this as a storage v2 standard LRS. It's a cheaper file share, it's cheaper storage type. So again, all we were trying to do in this video is primarily point out the very first thing, which is that in Fabrics, this moniker for storage accounts, where we say file share, is not synonymous with file storage in Azure. It just means that, hey, we're going to possibly put file shares into this storage account at some point. A second thing to note, as far as getting metrics for Fabrics to optimize any file share that's created in a storage account, is that if you create a storage account that is of type storage v2, right here, and you can only put 1 file share in that storage account and have it pull the metrics correctly. One of the limitations that Azure puts on storage v2 storage accounts is that it'll only return the metrics for the storage account as a whole and not individually for the storage accounts. So if you want Fabrics to optimize a storage v2 type file share, you need to make sure that you have a one-to-one relationship between the storage account itself and the file shares that go in it. So here you can see we have one file share in this storage account called data. Now I could add another file share to my premium one, say called data 2, and pick file share, and then pick which one, the storage account FS2. Oh yeah, that's correct. Click save, and now you can see I have two different file shares that are both in this premium storage account, and Fabrics can successfully optimize both of those because Azure will allow us to pull the metrics for this one and this one individually because it's a premium storage account. But to have Fabric successfully optimize a file share that's in a storage v2, you have to make sure that there's only one file share in that storage account. The last thing that we want to talk about here is that if you do have a storage account that you created, which we did, I believe this one we created as a store. Oh no, that one's created as a file share. So we need to look at this one. So this particular one was created not as file storage. It was just as not as a file share. It was just created as storage in Fabrics. That one will not show up in the list to associate as a parent for a file share. So if I come in to create what my parent is for a file share, I should not see this test opt 1. So if I go into my file shares and say I want to assign the parent for this one, you'll see that the opt 1, the FS1 was fine. These 4 were all fine. They're actually file share types. But that one that you created solely as storage, you're now being limited to select that. And the same would be true if you were adding a new one here. So I could say, a new file share, and then say, okay, I'm going to pick Azure, I'm going to pick a file share. When it loads my properties here, you're going to see again, I can't pick the file share that's of that type. So just to let you see that, I'm going to come back to the storage. You can see how we have 5 storage accounts here. This OPT one is the one that was created as in Fabrics as only storage. So when I come in and say, okay, I want to create my new file share, and then say I'm going to pick the types of file share, and in this list you'll see that that one is not missing, not available, or it is missing and it's not available because it's of storage type, and those are not allowed to have file shares assigned to them in Fabrics. And that's the end of our video about file shares and storage accounts.